chess friends, today I want to show you some clever chess gambits and openings that you can apply in your games and win at any games. If you're interested, let's check it out together. We're discussing the Heisen Gambit, which is a strategic move used in chess. It involves a trap that occurs in the Scandinavian defense after the initial moves pawn e4, pawn d5 and white playing knight to f3, sacrificing the e4 pawn. However, this relies on your opponent using the Scandinavian defense. To make this strategy more versatile, you can approach it differently by starting with the ready opening, playing knight to f3 first. Typically, your opponent will respond with either pawn d5 or pawn e5 in their opening moves. Now, we've eliminated one of those two squares, leaving your opponent with only the option to move d5, which is the most commonly played move in this situation. Then, you play e4, which shifts and deceives your opponent into falling for the same Heisen Gambit. And let me share a quote with you. You don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. In case you're unfamiliar, the main sequence involves the pawn capturing e4, where black accepts the gambit, and then the knight moves to g5, initiating a more or less direct line of play, leading to you overpowering your opponent in just about 8 moves or even fewer. Now, we go after the pawn, and usually, black defends it with their knight from f6. Afterward, you make the move pawn to d3, attacking the pawn once again. At this point, black is often willing to exchange it since they are already a pawn ahead. Then comes bishop takes d3, which is a critical moment. Black has the advantage of an extra pawn, but they might feel uneasy about your knight's position and your bishop applying pressure. Many opponents will fall into the trap by playing pawn h6, leading straight to the tactic of knight takes f7. After king takes, we execute bishop to g6, which creates a dangerous discovered attack. We check the king, and on the next move, we capture the queen. This strategy exposes your opponent's king, secures the queen, and puts you in a winning position. Although this approach is effective, I'll also discuss other ways you can use this opening against defenses like the Sicilian Defense, the Heisen Defense, and the Scandinavian Defense. Additionally, I'll highlight some pitfalls you need to watch out for. Advanced opponents might employ a variation where, after you play knight to g5 and they accept the gambit with their pawn, instead of defending with knight to f6, they play queen to d5. This move defends their pawn and threatens your knight simultaneously, putting you in a challenging position. However, knowing the solution to this situation can lead to a beautiful outcome. Black defends the e4 pawn while attacking your g5 knight, creating a seemingly difficult situation. However, if you are aware of the solution, it unfolds into a truly beautiful sequence. Playing pawn to d3 is the key move here. It attacks black's pawn on d4 while also defending your knight on g5. Black may trade pawns by capturing with the bishop, making it seem like you blundered the g2 pawn, tempting black to play queen takes g2. However, this is a trap because after bishop to e4, you x-ray attack the rook, defend it, and simultaneously attack the queen, putting black in a tricky situation with limited safe squares for the queen to move to. If black plays queen to g4, it leads to a winning sequence for you. After trading queens and then bishop takes b7, you win the rook on the next move as black is left defenseless. However, if black doesn't take the bait and plays pawn to h6 to kick off your knight, another beautiful line emerges. You counterattack with knight to c3, attacking their queen. They retaliate by attacking your knight, but you counterattack their queen. At this juncture, black might consider retreating the queen to deliver a check and then capture the knight, so, you move the knight back to e4. A positive aspect here is that you keep developing your pieces while black remains undeveloped, giving you a significant advantage. However, black has a plan too. They might play pawn to f5, intending to capture the knight on the next move since it's pinned to the king, believing they will be winning. One clever move in this position is bishop to e2. It appears as if you are retreating and concerned about the attack and capture, but after pawn takes e4, you execute bishop h5, leading to checkmate. This occurs because your queen restricts black's king, resulting in a decisive checkmate. Here's an interesting sequence using the Heisen defense. After you start with pawn to e4, black responds with pawn to c6. You continue with knight to f3, seemingly following the two knights variation. Black then plays pawn to d5, attacking your pawn on e4. You respond with d3, apparently defending your pawn. However, after black captures with pawn takes e4, you surprise them by playing knight to g5. After black takes your pawn on e4 with d takes e4, you respond with bishop takes d3. In the Sicilian Defense, this tactic works exceptionally well compared to other openings because now you're threatening to capture black's pawn on d5. Black's typical defenses involve pushing the pawn forward or defending it with knight to f6. However, both options lead to the same tactics we've already discussed and can result in a favorable outcome for white, and let me tell you a quote about life. Don't trust everything you see, even salt looks like sugar. Regardless of whether black plays h6 or knight to f6, which are the two most common moves in this position, you execute the same tactical maneuver, knight takes f7, attacking both the queen and the rook. This forces black to capture your knight, then, bishop to g6 follows, creating a discovered attack and leading to winning black's queen and ultimately the game for white. The Sicilian defense indeed offers interesting tactical opportunities. After you play pawn to e4 and your opponent responds with pawn to c5, entering the Sicilian defense, you can opt for the move pawn to c3, known as the Alpine variation. One of black's main responses is pawn to d5, which leads to the tactical pattern we want to explore. However, if your opponent chooses a different move, such as knight to c6, it opens up other strategic possibilities. Indeed, the Heisen Gambit pattern can be applied effectively against the Sicilian defense. After pawn d5, many players capture with x5, but we deviate into the Heisen Gambit by playing knight to f3. This sets up the familiar pattern where black captures the pawn on e4, and then we play knight to g5. Black responds with knight to f6 to defend the e4 pawn, and we continue with pawn to d3. After black captures with pawn takes d3, we play bishop takes d3, continuing the tactical sequence we've discussed earlier. If your opponent plays pawn h6 in response to the pressure, it's a common move that aims to alleviate the pressure on their position. However, as you mentioned, some opponents may choose different moves, leading to various positions where you might have compensation for the sacrificed pawn. Exploring different lines and strategies to handle such situations can be beneficial. Absolutely, pawn h6 allows for the powerful move knight takes f7, which puts black in significant trouble. After king takes g6, you have the beautiful choice between moves like bishop to g6 or bishop to c4. Bishop g6, as mentioned earlier, opens up a discovered attack and leads to a winning position for white. This tactical sequence showcases the potency of the Heisen Gambit, and the potential for decisive attacks against unprepared opponents. It's true that these tactics may not be as effective against highly rated players, but they can be very potent against the majority of opponents. Continuing the line after king takes g6, if we proceed to capture the queen on d8, white's position remains strong and winning. After knight c6, in this position and other variations of the Heisen Gambit, many players indeed make the losing mistake of playing queen c7. This move can lead to losing the game essentially in one move due to the vulnerabilities it creates in black's position. This is because the queen becomes trapped and unable to escape. Black can then capture the queen on the next move with something like knight d8 or knight d5, resulting in a winning position for black. These kinds of blunders are one reason why most people struggle to reach a 2000 rating level in chess. As a robo, I've observed this pattern in many games over the years while analyzing with my subscribers. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Wish you all the best. Bye bye, see ya.